Chef Kevin Belton here. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Now, who'd have thought today is National Tortilla Chip Day? That's right. So you know what? Let's do something with some tortilla chips. We're gonna make a nice little appetizer, a snack that we can snack on. We're gonna make catfish bites. All right. Now, you know me, I love to fry, but this time I'm gonna do it in the oven. I've taken my catfish and I've cut the fillet, then just cut it in little cubes. I've seasoned it with a little salt, a little bit of our Creole seasoning. I just have it here in the bowl. What I have here is fish fry. We're gonna get them battered in the fish fry and we're gonna put them on a rack. Now, my rack I've sprayed. Even though it's a non-stick rack, I sprayed it because we don't want the fish to stick. So look, we're gonna take a couple pieces of fish, put it right in. And if you want, you can season your fish fry. Now, fish fry, if you look at the texture of it really close, it's almost like ground cornmeal. That's what we call fish fry, all right? It's ground cornmeal. So shake off any excess. I season the fish. If you want, you can actually season the fish fry itself. See, we just want to give it a nice little spritz of oil. That oil, as it bakes, will help it to crisp up. Now, I'm doing this at 400 degrees in the oven, roughly for about 10 minutes, okay? They cook very, very quickly, all right? Plus, you can always check them. Now, let's make the sauce for this, all right? Here what I have some softened cream cheese. We're gonna get that in our blender. Come on, get down, go down, go down, go down. This might help if I take a spatula and push it down in there. I have lime juice, salt, and a little honey. Let's get that in. That honey is going to add that nice little bit of sweetness to it. And I have a half a cup of salsa verde. Now, we're going to get this closed up. We're going to pulse this. We'll get this blended together, and I'll show you how we're going to use this. Now, we've got this made. And also, when you make it, give it a little taste. I put a little more pinch of salt in, all right? And I used extra lime because I love lime. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take a little bit of this. What I have is a cabbage slaw mix. Then we're going to mix this with this cabbage slaw mix. And depending on how much or how little you like it, I don't want it too wet, but it's totally up to you. So here, look. Diced tomato that I've seeded. We're going to get in a little bit of fresh cilantro. I've cubed up an avocado. And if you want, you can add more lime juice to it now at this point. If you'd like, a little sprinkle of salt if you'd want. And we were talking that if you're a garlic fan, sure, you could add garlic to this. But there's a little garlic in that salsa verde. So now we want to take a little bit and just fill our chips. And then we'll put a piece of fish right on top. And you notice some of them didn't totally make the shape, but I tell you what, they still work, okay? So we'll get these ready and grab our fish as soon as it's done. I tell you what, doesn't that catfish look really, really good? Really good. Now we just take our catfish and just put it right on top. All right. Now, you notice some of the catfish are small, some are bigger pieces. The little cups, I'm using the smaller pieces of catfish. And you may have to do a little balancing act. But I tell you what, it all is so good. It's going to taste wonderful. All right. Remember, we season the fish. You don't have to over season it because we have so many other flavors. So we don't want that flavor covered up, all right? So now we can put some extra limes on the plate. When you go to serve this, to squeeze some extra lime right over the top. If you want, you can garnish it with a little more cilantro right on top. And for those of you that like extra sauce, you can also just drizzle a little sauce right on the top. All right, let's get a little piece of cilantro there and there. So there we have it. I tell you what, how is this? It's nice, it's healthy, it's baked in the oven, but of course you can fry it if you want. So try this recipe to celebrate National Tortilla Chip Day. So thank you so much for cooking with me today. Keep washing those hands, stay safe. For WWL-TV, I'm Chef Kevin Belton, and we'll see you soon. Something today that was just downright low down basic. All right, we're gonna fry fish and make potato salad. That's what we're gonna do. So as you see, something I have already on the stove going. I've got some Yukon Gold potatoes that I'm boiling. I just shut them off because they're ready. I have
see the garlic floating.
Oh, now I put garlic in because of the thing that you all know. Monica loves a lot of garlic. I like garlic too. Okay, we both like garlic. So what I did, besides the potatoes, I did a little garlic in there. See, that's just some sliced garlic that's going to get mashed up in our potato salad, okay? But we're going to make this in just a second. But let me show you what I'm doing with the fish. What I have here, I have a combination of a little flour, cornstarch, and cornmeal. You know, fried catfish, it has that crispy outside that gives that little extra crispy coating. That's because of the cornmeal. So in here, I'm going to add, I have a little black pepper, a little garlic powder, a little Creole seasoning, and a little salt. So I'm going to add that right in the bag.
You may want to tell people it's the pink salt because they may think the video is messed up.
I use pink salt, gang. I either use kosher salt, sea salt. This is the Himalayan pink salt. All right, but I always like to use like a kosher or sea salt. Okay, now. I'm doing this, you know, grandmother used to shake up in a bag, in a paper bag. Of course, you can do this in a bowl. Now, the catfish, I just took it out of the refrigerator. I have it soaking in buttermilk. Some folks don't like catfish because they say it has an earthy taste, all right? And if you're worried about that, put it in buttermilk. Now, I'm going to just kind of drain these off. That's what I have this bowl here for with the strainer. I'm just going to pop them in so the buttermilk just kind of drains off, okay? I don't want to rinse them, but what that buttermilk does, the buttermilk gets rid of that. If you think catfish has that earthy flavor, some folks say it has like not a dirty taste, but a gritty taste to it. The buttermilk helps with that. Now, I'm doing these today in buttermilk, okay? And I just took them out of the refrigerator. One of the things about fried fish, things fry better when they're cold. So these have been in the refrigerator the entire time. I just pulled them out right when we got started. Now, I'm using buttermilk here. I've taken my garlic sauce, put that in a bowl, whipped a couple of eggs in them, and let them soak in that. I've taken hot sauce, put hot sauce in a bowl, beat in a couple of eggs, and let the catfish soak in that. The thing about hot sauce, you think it'll be hot, but it's not. It's going to be very, very, very flavorful. It's not hot. For some reason, when hot sauce cooks, it just gets really flavorful. So let me just get these last two pieces out of here, just to drain. And matter of fact, this last one, I'm going to just let it drip off and get it right in the bag to get it coated. All right? So we'll just go right in there. Let's take a couple other pieces and just get them right in. We should be able to get about 3 pieces in. And we want to zip this closed and just shake it so they get coated really well. Okay? Now, I've had the oil heating up. One of the ways to tell, take a little pinch. See that sizzle? That means the oil is hot. So, shake off any excess and just drop your catfish right in. Shake off the excess, drop them right on in. And one of the things about frying, don't overcrowd the pan. All right? So, let me rinse off my hands. I'm going to move some things around so that we can get the potato salad going. Okay? Now, our fish isn't going to take too long to cook. So, I'm sorry, Mommy. Okay, I'm just going to drain our potatoes right quick. Now, sometimes I put them right back in the pot that I cooked them in. Today, I'm going to put them in a bowl. And this may seem, I'm sorry again, there's a little sliver of garlic down in there that I wanted to get. This may seem a little odd for you, but one of the nice things is to go ahead and do your potato salad while it's warm. Oh, look at our fish. Look how you get it nice and golden. I just pulled the spatter off. No, Kev, don't do that. This just needs a couple more minutes. I'll turn it down. But here for our potato salad. I find if you mix it warm, okay, the nice thing about mixing warm, it absorbs the seasoning and flavors more. Now, I had a little bit of salt in the water. Here, I have a little mayonnaise and a little mustard. Now, I'm using yellow mustard. You could use Creole mustard. And if you notice, I'm not using too much mustard, okay? I am a mayonnaise fan.
He's going to blame that on me.
I'm not going to blame it on you, baby. You're not a fan of mayonnaise, okay? So that's why when I make potato salad for you, I don't put a lot of mayonnaise in because you like it fairly dry, okay? Now, in here, see, I like my potatoes to get a little soft because I also like to mash up a little bit. I also like them to, you have chunks, you have some mash. We'll get a little bit of our Creole seasoning. Just a little pinch of salt. I'm doing some parsley and green onions, okay, into our potato salad. Let's get this mixed in.
Do you need to get this?
Yeah, I'm about to get the fish out because it's just about ready. All right. Let me go ahead. Now, as you see, I just have paper towels on this sheet pan. Just set it there. One of the things I like about cornstarch also gives off that little extra, I'll turn our fire off. When you fry, gang, just a little pinch of salt. Just drizzle a little tiny bit of salt right over the top. But cornstarch gives that little extra crispiness. You can see the coarse texture. That coarse texture comes from the cornmeal, okay? That's why often with fried catfish you see about using cornmeal. The other thing that's often used with cornmeal are fried oysters. So I've taken some eggs, boiled them, chopped them up, okay? And again, you know, we always talk about cooking to your taste. We both love a lot of boiled eggs in our potato salad. Now, truthfully, I would add a little more mayonnaise to this. But because I love my wife, you know, you can always add to something, you can never take away from it. So I'll let her adjust it if we need to adjust it. But here, I had a little salt in the water. We can do another little pinch of salt. Always taste this. But the reason, you see why I'm mixing it warm? Because think about it. That green onion, that parsley, all of those flavors come out because it's warm. That seasoning will get in the potatoes better because it's warm. Now, here's something that my mom would do. At this point, my mom would take some of those boiled eggs, slice them, and lay them over the top. The other thing she would do is take a little paprika and just sprinkle the top with a little paprika. You know, paprika is not hot. It just adds flavor. There we go. Look at that. So look at that with our fish. Oh, let me get a little plate that we can put a piece of fish on. Here, let's put a couple of pieces of fish right here. And we have our potato salad right next to it. Look, we can pop a lemon wedge there for some fresh lemon squeezed over the top. And of course, some folks like to drizzle a little hot sauce on. That's great. But I tell you, gang, you know, when you mix it warm, it's a whole different flavor. So try mixing your potato salad while it's warm. Now, I'm not going to serve this warm. I'm going to cover this, put this in the refrigerator, and let it chill, okay? But I just like to mix it while it's warm. The potatoes break up, especially if you like that creamy potato salad. They break up better. And you know, we did this with catfish. Any fish you want to fry, do the exact same thing with. Okay?
Including shrimp?
I'm sorry?
Could you do it with shrimp?
Of course you could do it with shrimp. The only thing that you find folks won't do with shrimp, a lot of times folks won't use the cornmeal with the shrimp. The cornmeal, like I said, is often done with catfish and often done with oysters. But hey, who's to say you can't do it, all right? But just remember, put your seasoning in, the flour and the cornstarch, and you know, they make fish fry. There are different fish fry products that you might use. Basically what that is, that's ground cornmeal. Some is ground very fine, some is very coarse. So you can use the fish fry or kind of make your own, all right? So here, I'm gonna go ahead and fry the rest of this fish because I think I'm gonna have to cook this for Monica because I think we're gonna have a late lunch today, a fried fish. But here we did catfish, shrimp, whatever you like, any type fish. Matter of fact, you know what else is nice with this? Boneless chicken thighs. Do the same thing with some boneless chicken thighs, that same frying. The trick to frying is making sure your oil is hot so that when you saw it go in, it sealed it. So you see, we got that crispiness, all right, because the oil was hot. Don't be afraid of frying. You know, we don't want to eat fried food every day. But when the oil is hot, it seals it. That heat seals it, and it's the juice inside that causes it to heat up and cook itself. So the oil doesn't penetrate. So if you ever eat something fried and it's soggy, the oil wasn't hot enough. So basically your breading just absorbed the oil, it got inside, so make sure it's nice, crispy, and hot. I thank you for hanging out with me. I hope you try the recipe. I think you'll like it. Keep washing those hands, keep massing up, stay safe. For WWL TV, I'm Chef Kevin Belton, and we'll see you soon, and thank you again for cooking with me. Hi guys, happy Thursday to you, and happy National Catfish Day. Yes, today is National Catfish Day. Now, if you've kind of been looking at Facebook pictures and things like that of mine, you notice I pretty much every afternoon go fishing. And one of the things I've been catching a lot lately is catfish. But I've been throwing those back because I want them to get a little bigger. But today, I want to do a recipe for you that catfish, that's a little different. Everybody goes ahead and, you know, everybody fries catfish. Some folks will season it and run it in the oven or just saute it in the skillet, things like that. But this is something that the other day while I was out fishing, I had a little CD on of B.B. King, the blues man. And it got me thinking. He was from Indianola, Mississippi. And when I was looking up things about Indianola, I found a restaurant called The Crown, which had this wonderful catfish dish called Catfish Allison. So I figured, hey, B.B. King, catfish, Indianola, The Crown, hey, let's put it all together and I'm going to show you this wonderful recipe. Now, I always talk about changing recipes and making them yours. I have a little something in here for that, for you if you want to change a little bit. But the first thing is, look, here's our nice catfish fillet, okay? This is just a catfish fillet, and you notice this is the bottom side because I want to season it first. All I want to do with our catfish fillet, a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. And here's what you have to remember. Remember, things have two sides. Whether it's a piece of chicken, whether it's a piece of catfish, everything has two sides. So you want to make sure you season both sides. There you go. That's good. Okay? Now, this is a dish that has a sauce that goes on top of it, and then it bakes in the oven. So what I'm starting with here is softened butter. Okay? To the softened butter, I'm going to do a little bit of Worcestershire. And you know, of course, you guys have seen me cook. I always adapted and adjusted to, you know, the mood that day. A little bit of hot sauce. Now, this is where I changed up this recipe a little bit, okay? I add a little bit of Creole seasoning, a little bit of my Creole seasoning to it. And the recipe calls for mayonnaise, okay? But if you all don't know this, Monica is not the mayonnaise fan. So whenever I make tuna salad or chicken salad, I don't use much mayonnaise in it because she's not the mayonnaise fan. So look what I did today. Here I used just a little bit of mayonnaise, and I'm using one of her favorite things, honey mustard. So I hope they don't mind that I took this recipe and changed it up a little bit, where we're going to get our mayo and our honey mustard in. Because I know she loves honey mustard. That's why I decided to do that. So if you're not a mayo fan, and I know a lot of folks aren't mayo fans, try this with the mustard, okay? It'll change a little bit, but look at what's happening here. This soft butter is going to be a nice base, okay? Imagine, you know how often when we bake something in the oven, we put butter on a piece of fish, or often during Thanksgiving, we butter a turkey, and so it'll brown off so that skin gets all nice and brown and crispy. So here, I'm just taking that soft butter, kind of mashing it up a little bit, getting it mixed in to that mayo, that hot sauce, that Worcestershire, that little bit of Creole seasoning. And now we're going to put a little bit of green onion into this. So I have just a little bit of green onion. And we just want to put some of this green onion in. Oh, might as well get the rest of this little bit that's left. All right, come on, baby, hop in. Oh, look at you, didn't cut. I don't know if that happens to you all. Sometimes I always have one spot that for some reason it won't cut all the way. All right, let's get that in. Now, this next thing may seem a little bit odd to you to put into a dish, especially with seafood. This is one of those discussions that folks have all the time. Oh, it goes together. No, it doesn't go together. Do you believe in putting cheese with seafood? All right. I tell you what, one of the greatest things I did that I thought was so good, I fried oysters, put them back in the shell, then did a little butter garlic on top with some Parmesan cheese. Oh, yes. So in this recipe, look, a little shredded Parmesan. Now, you know, sometimes Parmesan is shredded finer than this, is a little smaller, you know, but, you know, hey, remember, use what you have. So we're just going to get this all stirred in together. And, you know, it might be a little easier with the Parmesan, a smaller shred, but hey, use what is there. Now remember, we season our catfish with just salt and pepper. We have a little bit of Creole seasoning in here, but all we're going to do is take this and put this right on top. We're just going to smear this right over this fish. And you know, that's one of the things I was reading about the Crown, is that they do catfish a lot of different ways, but one of the ways they don't do it is fried. Right? I heard they even made a catfish pate. That sounds good if you're a pate fan. But look at this, gang. Now the oven is preheating at 350 degrees. Hey, you know that little bit extra Parmesan? Let's just go ahead and put that right on the top. Why not? Let's just use it all. So this is going to go in the oven, 350 degrees, 20-25 minutes. What's going to happen is, remember that butter in there that's soft, that butter is going to melt and spread that sauce out. Mayonnaise is oil and eggs, so that's going to create a sheen as well. And then, hey, we put the honey mustard in, so that's going to give a flavor. So let me grab this because, you know, yeah, I have one in the oven. I put one in a little earlier. I want you to take a look at this. This is what it looks like before it goes in. And this is what it looks like after. So you can see the cheese is melted. Look at that butter running all around. You know, this is something now, I'm putting this on non-stick foil. And remember, with non-stick foil, there's a shiny side and a dull side. The part that the food won't stick on is the dull side. So non-stick foil, shiny, dull, the food goes on the dull side. So I did it on non-stick foil because I had a feeling with that butter, with that cheese and everything melting, because it won't stick, I'm gonna get this and serve this on a plate for Monica for lunch. That way I can take some nice bread and get all of that sauce off around it since it's on a non-stick, all right? So I tell you what, how about this, a little something different to celebrate National Catfish Day? So we have to thank, I think it's Miss Evelyn and Jennifer, mother-daughter, that still run the Crown Restaurant to this day. So thank y'all for sharing those family recipes with us. And I'm looking forward to maybe going to the Crown next time I'm in Indianola, Mississippi. So for WWL-TV, I'm Chef Kevin Belton, and happy Catfish Day. We'll see you soon. Stay safe, everybody.